Hello, good morning, and welcome to this session of International Marketing Strategies. We would start off with where we left yesterday. We saw that there is something called an absolute advantage and a competitive advantage. So, we were discussing the classical theories of trade, and today we will see what is the difference between absolute advantage and comparative advantage. The first and foremost difference is in absolute advantage, the countries are compares industry productivity across countries, whereas in competitive advantage, it compares the opportunity cost across countries. Okay, so what is it? It describes the ability to produce goods at lower opportunity cost compared to other country. Okay, so the difference is it is competitive across the other country. The first one, absolute advantage, doesn't take the other country into consideration. So absolute advantage describes ability of a specific country to produce goods at a lower cost per unit. It assumes that trade is not mutually beneficial for two countries. It makes a country produce higher volumes and of goods with given resources. It considers advantage of producing numerous goods. Whereas competitive advantage, on the other hand, it describes the ability to produce goods at lower opportunity cost compared to other country. Trade is mutually beneficial. Third aspect of differences, the produce is better than the other nation with the same resources. With the same resources, which country can produce more or faster or cheaper? The last point, it considers the overall production of a nation during a given framework of time. So this is the difference between absolute advantage and comparative advantage. The next aspect we will go and look up is, we have finished classical theory, classical approach to trade. Now today we will be looking at neoclassical approach or modern theory. There are two names to it: classical approach or neoclassical approach or modern. So we will first see the difference between these two before going into neoclassical approach. The first one is, all the classical approach assumes that it starts off with focus on functions of economy, demand of worker. That is, workers are considered as just an instrument. There is no emotional value for them. Okay, they are just an instrument of production. Number two, because of this aspect, it is a very impersonal structure. Okay, so laborers are one entity and the country is one entity, or the company is one entity. There is no emotional attachment between the two. Rules and regulations are what this entire things get worked up with. Authoritarian way of managing things. So what will all these things result in? Dissatisfaction, no ownership. Okay, so this is what actually happened. There were people, zamindars, who were owning and workers who were working. All of them, even today if you see trade unions, the older way of looking at it is, company has to whip the workers to get work done, and the workers will at one point in time started rebelling. So this is a very clear classical approach to the concept of working. The neoclassical approach, if you look at, it is more of emotion and human quality of workers. They started saying workers are just not an entity, they are our assets. Without them, we will not be able to produce. So their social system started acknowledging their talents, their skill. They started involving them in the process of the company structure. They started consulting them, okay, and they started involving them in the well-being of the company. And so what happened, there is an organic growth. There is growth of the company plus the people are happy. So this is the difference between the classical and the neoclassical, or the classical and um, the classical and the modern theory of trade. Right now we will go on to the next, move on to the next aspect, which is the first theory in the modern theory, which is called the factor proportions theory. Factor proportion theory, you see, it is already the 19th century. All the classical theory were 16th century, 17th century. This is already the 19th century. So Heckscher, Olin, both are researchers, I mean economists, and then they propounded the theory. What was the theory? They said export goods, a particular country will produce things, okay, based on what they are abundant in. A country will produce proportionately, export proportionately to what? Goods that are required, factors that are abundant in their country. Right? Export goods, they which are where factors are locally abundant. Okay? And they will import goods where locally things are very scarce. So, for example, China has a lot of labor. India, IT. Why? Because the factors are contributing to. Okay? So, patterns of trade are determined by difference in factor endowment and not by productivity. He says productivity is a outcome of the factor. Earlier they said productivity. He says, where did your productivity come from? If IT people are not there, how will India become an expert in information technology? If laborers are not there in abundance, how will China be able to produce at the cost that they are producing and flooding the market? Right? So this is factor endowment. Each country have their factors which they are endowed with, which they are given abundantly available. Saudi Arabia has oil. So they will obviously export good oil because it is locally abundant. Right? What will they import? They will import goods that are locally scarce. If you look, they say that in Saudi Arabia, right from water to vegetables to food grains, everything comes from outside. But for dates and very few things that they could manufacture because of the climatic environment that they have. So this is the factor proportions theory. So we will go to the next one, country similarity and PLC, in the next session. I'm unable to make longer sessions because of issues in terms of uploading. So it is easier for me to do 10 minutes, 15 minutes. The half an hour sessions are becoming very, very cumbersome in terms of uploading and sharing. So I thought we would take smaller sessions and complete it. So today we have continued with yesterday's aspect of what is the difference between absolute advantage and comparative advantage. And then we have moved on to the next one, which is What's the difference between all these classical theories and modern theories, which are also called the neoclassical theories? And then, last but not the least, we started with one theory which is called factor proportion theory, which was propounded in the 19th century by Heckscher and Olin. And there is an explanation of what the factor means. He questions about productivity. The earlier things were talking about productivity. He says, how will you produce if you don't have the factor? That is the difference. Thank you very much.